Hi, today we're going to talk about linear relationships, and we're going to start by looking at an example. So Andre starts babysitting and charges €10 for traveling to and from the job, and €15 per hour. For every additional hour he works, he charges another €15. The first thing we would like to do here is make a graph. So I'm going to start by drawing out my axis. So I've got here my y-axis and my x-axis. This is my x and this is my y. So on the x-axis, we have the time in hours. So here this is time in hours. And on the y-axis goes the amount that he earns in euro. So let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's stop here. So my first question is, how much does Andre earn if he just goes to babysit to their place? Because it says here that he charges €10 for traveling to and from the job. So he hasn't actually worked yet, but he charges €10 for the travel the commute that he takes. So that's where he starts. He starts at €10. And then it says that per hour, he then charges €15. So the first hour that he works here, in that first hour, he then charges €15. That's where we would end up. So here I go 1 to the right and I go 15 up. So that would be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Try to space that out evenly. That's easier when you do it on your paper, on your squared paper. It's a bit harder here. You can see I didn't do a very good job here. Okay, but nevertheless, so he starts here at €10 because he already traveled or had that commute to his family, for which he charges €10. He charges €10 just to travel there. And then in that first hour, he will earn €15. So I would end up being right here. That's where I make my first spot. So this here, this is €15. Okay? After 2 hours, he will earn another €15. So he would be right there. And you can already draw your line, which looks like this. Yeah, about like this. So this point, I'm going to change that point slightly so that it actually is on that line. Yeah. So try to make that line go through the points that you need there. Now, when we think about that, this is a linear relationship, and a linear relationship is any relationship between two quantities where one quantity has a constant rate of change with respect to the other. So in this case, the rate that he earns changes per hour. These are the two quantities that are in this relationship: time and money earned. The more he works, the more money he earns. Now let's think about that rate of change. What is that rate of change? We can figure out the rate of change using the graph. Because the rate of change is constant, we can take any 2 points on the graph and divide the amount of vertical change by the amount of horizontal change. So let's write that down. Rate of change is equal to vertical change over horizontal change. So let's have a look. I have already made a little triangle here. And as I said, you can use any triangle. You could start here and you could start from here and go to here. You could start from here and go to, I don't know where else it would be, here. It doesn't really matter. Any triangle will do, but I'm going to just take this one because also it's the easiest. So what is my vertical change here? Vertical is this one. So my vertical change here is 15 over horizontal. My horizontal change was 1. So in this case, the rate of change is equal to 15. That's the rate of change. So the last thing that I want you to notice here is that this is actually exactly the same way we calculated the slope of a line. And that's why the graph is a line and why we call this a linear relationship. The rate of change of a linear relationship is the same as the slope of its graph. Okay, so you can also say the rate of change is the same as the slope gradient, which is the same thing, of the graph. And this is important. However, when we looked at, before we were talking about proportional relationships, right? And we looked at lots of graphs and you were drawing lots of graphs of proportional relationships. They all went through the point 0, 0 right here. But proportional relationships are one type of linear relationship. In general, the line can intersect with the y-axis at any point. Like here at 10, at 20, at 30. But if we're talking about a proportional relationship, it needs to go through 0, 0. So this, for example, is a linear relationship, but it is not proportional. I think you can now go on and try some of the examples that I've set you on your worksheet. And I'll help you out if you need help.